Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time. Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger, and this is a very special episode of Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time. And with me, as always, I have a lovely panel of guest critics tonight. We have Rachel Kolb and Eric Godfrey, the power couple. Hey guys.
Hi.
Good to see you again. And also Ivy Lofberg. Hey Ivy, how's it going?
Hey, good to be here.
Great to have you guys. We've got a lot to talk about, and our episode tonight is going to be very music centric, as we were going to discuss two films about composers, one real, one fictional. So those movies are Maestro, which is in theaters now, and just started streaming on Netflix today. And our second film of the evening is the 1995 film Mr. Holland's Opus, starring Richard Dreyfuss. But before we get into that film, Maestro. Now, I saw this a few weeks ago. Big fan. I think the performances were fantastic, some of the best of the year. You've got Bradley Cooper pulling in triple duty here as star, director, and writer, co-writer. And the film is about the real life story of Leonard Bernstein, the composer, conductor, best known for his many film scores and original compositions, most notably West Side Story. And this movie also stars Carey Mulligan, who plays his wife. They have a very complicated relationship, just to say the least. And it is just really, really well done. I thought the performances were top notch. And I learned a lot about this man, actual public figure. And yeah, I even heard that he looked and sounded like the real Bernstein. So that's really cool. And I definitely see an Oscar nomination in his near future. Same for Carey Mulligan. But yeah, power couple, Rachel and Eric. What did you guys think of Maestro?
Hmm? You want to kick it off?
Oh, sure. I mean, I was a very big fan of it. I've always been a big. I think I was gonna say, I think the only other thing Cooper's directed at this point is Star is Born. I
Yeah.
think he's got quite
Yeah.
the track record now that he's going with
Mm.
this. Apparently, he's now obsessed with music. But the fact that the movie is ultimately centered around him and one of my favorite actresses, Carey Mulligan. I think the two of them just it's an amazing chemistry to watch the two of them on screen together, and I really like a lot of the directorial choices that Cooper made with how subtle little changes to whether it's the aspect ratio, uses of black and white and color to signify the major eras of Bernstein's life, and I thought that was a very good way of being able to kind of track the passage of time through the little stylistic choices that he made in there. And overall, I was a very big fan of this film.
Mhm.
Yeah, very artfully done, very
Hmm.
very careful, well thought out directorial choices by Cooper. So,
Hmm.
and this is only his second film, and I really enjoyed A Star Is Born as well. And I think he's just getting better and better as time goes on. So
Hmm.
I really can't wait to see what he has next up his sleeves. You know, Rachel, what did you think of the film?
I really enjoyed this film quite a bit. Similarly to A Star is Born, I think that maybe the first third to first half worked the absolute best for me, that I was just like completely caught up in it. Also, as a musical theater fan, I enjoyed a lot of like the name drops of famous choreographers, famous lyricists, of course, mentions of Lil Stevie, Stevie Sondheim at one point. I thought it was kind of smart that they chose not to actually portray him on screen as of yet because he did just pass away. But it was fun to get to hear fun little name drops and having a lot of New York actors show up. Especially a lot of New York stage actors like Michael Urie showing up as Jerome Robbins, just in this small role. I think it dealt also with Bernstein's sexuality and his relationship with his wife and ongoing kind of cycle of various partners of all different genders. I think that it handled that very well and very tactfully. Whereas I could see that if this movie had been made prior to now, it would not have been handled quite as well. In that sense, it kind of reminded me a bit of a Kevin Kline, another musical biopic called "The Lovely,"
Hmm.
that was about the life of Cole Porter,
Okay.
also a composer that was married to a woman but had various ongoing affairs with men.
Now that would have been a perfect film to pair this with. Um, Something that could have brought to my attention yesterday. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. No,
No,
I
just another great one for if listeners have not seen "The Lovely." I think it's kind of an underrated gem. I enjoy it quite a bit.
well, yeah. Anything that Kevin Kline does is pretty much a gem. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely check out The Lovely. Awesome. I love the recommendation. And you did mention Bernstein's sexuality, which is at the forefront here. He is bisexual. He's kind of a free spirit. He's hooking up with men while he's married to Carey Mulligan's character, and I mean, you just want to see where he's going to go next. You never know who he's going to end up in bed with. And
The line about that, it's like, did you know that I've slept with both of your parents to the baby?
yeah, he's just all over the place, and he's just a very fascinating person. And I think Cooper really captured him beautifully. So, Ivy, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely am agreeing with all of you. I thought that the movie was really beautifully shot, and I love that he was really trying to capture the time that the movie was portraying and the way that movies were made then, and kind of like it had a really beautiful nostalgic vibe to it that felt like it fit in really beautifully with the movie. Like I really loved the scenes when he was she was like, I want to see, you know, what's in your mind. And then you see like they're all dancing and they're all kind of dancing together, but it's also a scene from that he's created. It's like so creatively shot.
Yeah.
And that I love the opening of it where he's like you realize he's in bed, you know, with a lovely man, and he's just runs onto the stage, and it's just really it has a lot of life to it, a lot of spirit. You can tell that a lot of passion was put into the movie, and he really wanted to show how much he loved these people and movies and music, and it's really a love letter, I feel like, the movie. And I also agree, I love when actors like make it really big and they put people in really well made films who deserve it, like Michael Urie deserves to be in a big movie like this. He was so incredible, and you mostly see him on TV, and he's just so brilliant. And a lot of people like that. And again, I agree, Carey Mulligan was just transcendent. And I thought that, you know, he really is someone to keep an eye on. He's really fully expressing himself, which I think is really cool. I got to see him do an Elephant Man on Broadway, and he was incredible. So
Yes. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
was he amazing? So good. So it was cool to see, you know, like this is a man who, you know, really loves the theater too, and kind of wants all of it to, and all the mess of it, the beautiful mess of it, and all of these. Oh, I also really loved, you know, all of these characters, and I agreed in how his sexuality was portrayed. Like he was this big soul who kind of couldn't be contained and
Yeah.
wanted to experience so much of life, and was just very fearless in his expression of who he was. And even though it wasn't the safest time to be that person. And so so bravo.
Yeah, if I could jump off of that real quick, there's a really lovely moment. It's a lovely and just heartbreaking moment involving a conversation that he has with his daughter, where Bradley Cooper very smartly allows the scene to really breathe and allows to be able to see this transformation and this moment just happen in the silence, which so much of this movie is not silent. And so much of this movie is just completely awash with Leonard Bernstein's music. And this is actually a time when I would really recommend that people watch it with the subtitles on, if only to catch some of the musical cues and some of the hidden meanings that are hidden in just the song choices at certain key moments in the film.
Okay.
Particularly one that was written for his wife that comes in at a key moment.
So each piece of music was very carefully curated and placed in the right moment to kind of
Absolutely.
hide the story a bit. Yeah. Brilliant choices. I think Cooper had a lot to do with that.
Oh yeah, and although I do have one question to ask everybody here. What do you think the cigarette budget was on this movie?
Every
$1
single
million.
scene.
Yeah, which is probably true to the time, but it's like just like, man, I've not seen this much smoking in a movie before in a long time.
And I don't know if the real Bernstein passed away from lung cancer, but yeah,
That's a good question.
he had
Sure.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, emphysema, and he had a heart attack brought on by mesothelioma. So yeah, he was a heavy smoker, and obviously throughout the film, he's got a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah,
and that attention to detail is prevalent throughout the whole film, and I definitely credit Cooper with that, for just bringing this real life figure to basically to new life.
yeah, and I definitely think there needs to be absolute, especially this is some of the best prosthetic, like especially the old age prosthetics.
Yeah.
The makeuping and the design, like the way they are able to age both him and Mulligan is so well done.
I think if anything, the prosthetic makeup that they did on this makes a case for him doing actually two other biopics that I was thinking of while watching this. A biopic for Robert Preston, who's probably best known for his roles in Music Man, Victor Victoria. What was the other one that you mentioned?
The Last Starfighter.
Last Starfighter.
Oh, nice.
And also for doing a Robin Williams biopic. I think he could do a Robin Williams biopic brilliantly.
Crazy. But there's
Wow, what a great idea.
I don't think there's an actor out there who can duplicate Williams' brilliance.
Probably not.
Actually, no. I amend that, because I do know of a Williams impersonator who makes his rounds at like Comic-Cons and various events and stuff like that. But that's another episode. The prosthetics in this movie though are fantastic. I remember seeing they showed Bernstein's neck when he was like in his 70s, and the makeup on Bradley Cooper, it looked so leathery and so real.
Yeah.
It the scene I'm talking about. Like they really zoomed in on that, and I really hope that the makeup designer gets at least an Oscar nomination.
And maybe that Hollywood also takes a cue and says, "Hey, let's go back to doing prosthetics instead of this weird CGI de-aging."
I agree with that. That's a good idea. But yeah, definitely a great job with the makeup, and the music choices were also great. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more about his, about his composing, his style, his process. This movie was really just about the relationship between the two characters.
And that's what I was talking about with Rachel. I felt like if you're going to tell a story, I think you had two options. And I mean, you could probably, with the career that he had, basically tell you could probably make an entire movie about just him being called up in the morning, like, hey, you're going on for this career making thing. And I think at some point you had to make a choice. Is it about the music or is it about the relationships?
Right.
And I think for this one, and I think probably smartly so, I think they were like, we're going to hyper focus on Bernstein and his wife. And they
also have a really good line that he says that he's such a social person that he has a hard time with composing because it's such a solitary job. And like I think there actually is like one take that show like one scene that shows him like at the piano writing, and it's honestly just the most just like there's no dialogue, it's just him smoking and then writing some notes, and it's like, yep, that's what composing sometimes is.
Yeah, that is. And I get it. I mean, that's what audiences want, relationships. They don't want to see a guy at a piano scribbling notes. I get it, but I would have liked to have seen more of that personally. but maybe we'll get the Cooper cut of this
Yeah.
movie. So we'll see. But yeah, so guys, Maestro is now playing in theaters, and it just came to Netflix. So if you are interested in the film, it's quite lovely, and it is all Bradley Cooper. It's really his baby, and Mulligan is fantastic as well. Ever since was it 2 years she did Promising Young Woman, and ever since then she's become like she's at the very high on my.
She's
Yeah.
been all the way back since In Education. I rewatched In Education just I think about a week ago, entirely unrelated to this. I ended up rewatching it, and it is if you want a good Carey Mulligan rewatch, that is a star-making role for her.
Awesome.
And really great performances also from Alfred Molina and just a whole other cast of characters. So
that's 2 movies, Rachel, that you recommended in less than 15 minutes. I love it.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, all right, guys. So I want to talk about another movie, a very different movie, but with a similar character. Not as obnoxious, not as well known. I mean, he's a fictional character, but still pretty fascinating to watch. This movie is from 1995, Mr. Holland's Opus, and it basically tells the story of a composer who during the 60s, I believe it was, takes a job as a music teacher. And the film is kind of like a Forrest Gump type story where he basically impacts the lives of so many while at the same time struggling to complete this piece of music. And we span the life of this brilliant man, brilliant musician, brilliant teacher, who over the course of 30 years, he really makes an impact. Richard Dreyfuss was nominated for a few awards, including the Oscar for Best Actor for this, and he was absolutely wonderful. I believe this was the year he lost to Nicolas Cage for Leaving Las Vegas, so that makes sense. But Dreyfuss really did hit it out of the park here, and I actually have been told about this movie for a long time, and this was the first time I've actually ever seen it.
Wow.
Wow.
About 2 weeks ago, and I was so happy that I finally got to see it. Kind of mad at myself for not catching it sooner, but it's just a really wholesome, a really lighthearted dramedy that kind of hits all the right notes. And I'm a huge fan of this movie now. It made me appreciate Richard Dreyfuss even more. But yeah, enough of me. Ivy, what were your thoughts on this 1995 classic?
I also really love this movie so much. It's one of those movies where I'm so excited that you picked it because I feel like younger people need to know about Richard Dreyfuss. I feel like he's like I watch older movies now, and I'm starting to feel that way towards actors that are like, hey kids, that Richard Dreyfuss is amazing, right? Like keep your eye on him, watch his movies because he's like incredible. Yeah, and especially in this movie, I love this movie so much. It's really I agree with you in terms of I love watching the creative process too, and I think Maestro was really cool, really focusing on the relationships. And what I loved about this one is like seeing someone who thought that he was giving up his dreams, and he actually discovered this life that was more satisfying and fulfilling beyond his wildest dreams. It has it's a wonderful life quality, I think, of showing this person who thinks they should have had a different life. And I really love how honest he is about it, that he when he talked about Coltrane, that he's like, at first he just hated it, and then he kept listening and listening and listening, and then he realized he loved it, and that he felt that same way about teaching. And just watching somebody learn how to make someone love music and appreciate music. There's a scene in there where he teaches the girl, how to play the clarinet that just makes me cry, because he just figures out his love for music by passing it on to students. Like, it's just one of those films that's just like a heartwarming film that feels like it really easily could be a real person, a real music teacher.
Mhm.
And I really also love, I feel like they did a pretty tasteful job of his little crush, I guess, of the student who kind of fell in love with him, and his journey with that, I thought, was done in a more tasteful way. It was kind of refreshing. I feel like there's a lot of teacher movies out right now about student teacher romances, and it was just
May,
refreshing.
December.
Exactly. Seeing, like, it was part of the journey, and he didn't do, it was complicated, and I think done in a very nuanced way. And I also, the last thing I'll say is I really loved how they showed a teaching career through 30 years and how much the country changed in that time and how much the students changed in that time. And that was an extraordinary thing to watch, is how much the country changed in that time. And he was just there teaching the whole time, and the students changed so dramatically by the end. So yeah, I love this movie. I could talk about it for the next hour.
And the passage of time and the way that the country changes throughout the 30 years, I was immediately, I thought of Forrest Gump right away. And I love Forrest Gump. That's a classic in its own right. I don't know if I can compare the two, but I mean, they're both very, very strong films. And I also wanted to mention the supporting cast, primarily Olympia Dukakis, who plays the principal at the school. She's brilliant. She was just fantastic in everything she did. Very reliable. There's also a very young Terrence Howard in this movie.
Yes.
Which I was like, oh my God, look how young he is. He plays kind of this struggling student who gets involved with the military and yada yada yada. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but it was really weird to see him pop up in there. I thought the wife in the film, Glenn Headley, thought she was pretty good too. I would have liked to have seen more of that, like that dynamic between the two of them. And
I agree.
And their son, I did like the way that they portrayed the deaf son. I think that was very tastefully done and kind of a nice commentary on people with that issue. So I think that was handled very well. The relationship between the son and Dreyfus was great. This film it had like no profanity, no violence. This is like the perfect family film, I'd say. I mean, just sit down with your kids and just put this movie on, and
it does have some ASL swearing in it.
That's true.
To be fair.
All right, maybe I go back and amend that, but you know what I mean.
But no, I know what you mean, because for me, I have a lot of, like, my parents were very big fans of this movie when it came out, so they watched it a lot when we got it on home VHS and home DVD. And so it's actually been a while since I've watched it, and it's one of those ones where rewatching it really did remind me how much this film has stuck with me through the years. And I think it's because it's like it's a movie written by somebody who clearly had that teacher in school, the one that made an impact and stuck with you, and was able to tell a very good story about probably what the life of that teacher looked like. And what I appreciate about this one is that he is a very flawed person. Right. And like, whereas he can be a great teacher, he's a horrible father.
He is a really
he's a really bad husband from time. And I like as it shows that he's a person who gets a lot wrong before he gets it right, and that it is an ugly path to get to where he is. And it's still the fact that despite warts and all, he conducted that great symphony by the end, the with his students, essentially, the metaphor made whole. And I like there's a lot of sympathy you have with him, a lot of the anger, you can feel that. And that's why I always like this movie, is because it's not afraid to make him unlikable. Right. It's not afraid to show that he is far from a perfect person.
Right.
and that even if he has a midlife crisis moment of weakness with a student, or can't figure out how to talk to his son when they can't communicate on the level that he wants to.
Right.
And I think the movie handles that very.
Yeah,
And-
one thing that really struck me this time around watching it with the storyline with Cole is the fact that it shows how society, especially deaf society, was going through a transition of the deaf and hard of hearing community uh, really advocating for themselves and really organizing, and also pushing back against therapists that were suggesting assimilation into hearing culture. That it's like you need to learn to read lips and you need to learn to speak. That it's like, no, I'm gonna, like, I have ASL and I'm gonna use ASL, and that it's okay for kids to learn that and for that to be their primary means of communication. That maybe it's the parents to also then learn this along with them and learn how to communicate in this way because it's the best way for them to communicate. Whereas early on, after they get the diagnosis that their son is deaf, there's a therapist that tells them, oh, he needs to learn to be able, like, you can't be doing gestures with him. You have to, like, teach him how to speak because otherwise he's not going to be able to fit into society. And then when he finally gets that deaf community through the school, that instantly changes. And if anything, I feel like the storyline with Cole, I think, is a great argument for why they should have left out the whole storyline with the with the musical. Well, maybe not the whole storyline with the musical, but maybe with the student and the potential of the affair, because I feel like there was so much more that they could have gone into with his son and with that relationship. And also the movie alludes so much to a lot of the society changes that were going on at that time, and it was such a time of upheaval as far as new rights that were secured in law for people of various disabilities. I think it would have been maybe cool to even explore that a little bit, or to spend more time at the deaf school. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, they could have focused a little bit more with on Cole. You know, the movie is a little bit all over the place towards the end, or the middle to end. But
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
I did respect some of the choices that the director made. And the movie was sort of like the way they handled the deaf son storyline. It kind of was a reverse of Coda in a weird way. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, but like really, again, tastefully done. I really respected what they did to shed a light on that deaf culture. And also to your point, Eric, Richard Dreyfuss, he's not really he's kind of typecast as a guy who's not very likable, or just kind of like I don't know, it's weird. He's very quirky, very morally ambiguous in a lot of his roles. You know, he's not like a standard heroic leading man.
He's
And,
Eric's celebrity doppelganger.
wait,
Fair.
I guess I kind of see that a little bit. That's cool.
I should have just gone for the mustache.
Yeah. Right. Now I'm gonna think about that. Every time I see you, I'm gonna think
I was
Richard.
gonna say he's giving Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws right
Yeah,
now.
there we go.
Yeah.
I can go for that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, perfect. That's awesome.
I,
But oh, sorry, I mean,
I was gonna say, I really agree with everything you guys are sharing, and it reminded me a little bit of a wonderful movie called The Sound of Metal, where they really talk about, you know, the attitudes towards just not being able to hear, not being a disability, and it just being a different way of living in the world. And I felt like this movie did such an incredible job of like that. The fact that Holland didn't like that his son couldn't hear, because he just assumed then that he couldn't share his love for music with his son, was his problem. And like Eric said, you know, it shows like his own flaws. And it wasn't that there was anything wrong with Cole. It was just that he just assumed like, oh, well, now I don't get to share the one thing I love, like bad luck for me, you know. And I really love too, like that when Cole really went after him in such a powerful way and really confronted him, he really sat with that and made a huge change with that, and really figured out a way as a teacher. And I love that he like had this thing that he didn't want to do, that he fell in love with, that then became his lens, that he figured out a lot of things in his life through, and he figured out how to connect with Cole, and how to share a love of music, and see it as something really interesting instead of a disability. I thought that handled it really in a wonderful, unique way.
Yeah. Agreed with all that. But I would have liked to have seen them go a little bit deeper, a little further with the father-son relationship. Because that's always very it tugs at the heartstrings for sure, especially for me.
It also, this movie has one of my favorite smash cuts of when he first plays Louie. Smash cut to William H. Macy, All American, sliding down communism through the hallways. It's like subversive music.
Yes.
That's one of my. I love that smash cut.
A very early role by the great William H. Macy, who plays
that buzz cut.
Yeah. It's so good. So good. And yeah, basically, and I love the message of, it's basically a metaphor for life. Like, he's spending his entire career, his entire life trying to complete this piece of music. And it's like a metaphor for all of our lives. We're all trying to complete something, and it's just beautifully done. So.
And I was going to ask, Randy, because I know you're a big film score person, and I think one of the things that really works about this is that when you finally have the big cathartic moment, his American Symphony played, and you're like, hey, that's pretty good. Hey, it's like everyone in the audience like, oh, thank God it wasn't terrible. He actually composed a good symphony. And
that piece of music, the American Symphony, was actually written by the composer of the score here, Michael Kamen, who is probably best known for his music from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And kind of just very triumphant, heroic scoring, and perfect here. I would have liked to have maybe heard Jerry Goldsmith, but that's just me. But yes, still a great score and a great movie, so that's great. And speaking of wonderful films in our lives, this is holiday season. We have Christmas this weekend, and I'm dressed for it. We've got Gizmo here. And I see you guys have your hats. Ivy, you look great. I just want to go around. What is your top holiday movie? What is your annual tradition? What movie do you have to spend the holidays seeing? Ivy, you go first.
Oh gosh, have to see a Gremlins.
Yes,
really, like the best Christmas movie. Love Die Hard. Love Christmas Vacation a lot, and I love Christmas Vacation mostly because I loved it as a kid. Like, I watch it now. Like, I was watching with my husband, and he's like, oh my God, this is so stupid. I know. I just have to watch it.
Oh.
Can't not watch it. He's like, okay.
All right. Fair enough.
And I love Elf so much. And I recently caught on TV It's a Wonderful Life, and I forgot how good it is. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't got really sick of it, and so didn't see it for a really long time. And then I watched it again. It's like, oh my God, this is a masterpiece. No wonder people love this movie so much. I really fell in love with it again. And
that final scene around the Christmas tree where they're singing Auld Lang Syne, that was just I cry every time. I can't help it. So good choices, Ivy. Good choice. Great choice.
Also, have to add Muppets Christmas Carol.
The best version of Christmas Carol.
Yes. Well, I debate that because my top Christmas Carol movie is Scrooged with Bill Murray, and and I think a Christmas Story is a close second. And Gremlins and Die Hard for sure as well. And Rachel, I know you're going to agree with Muppets, right?
Yes, yeah, Muppets was definitely one that I was going to mention. Since that one got mentioned, I'll bring up a couple. Tokyo Godfathers, excellent, unconventional Christmas movie. If you haven't seen it, really, really excellent.
That's the third movie on my list tonight.
I'm also going to mention Emma Daughter's Jug Band Christmas, which is just adorable and will warm your heart if you've never seen it. It is classic Muppets, really great voice work, very catchy songs. And then the third one that I'll mention is an annual watch every year for my family, which is White Christmas. That is our annual must watch. We no matter what, we have to watch White Christmas.
Perfect. I love it. Eric, any additional?
I'm going to cheat because there's two. Because one's technically a TV show and the other one is a movie. So
Okay.
as far as movies go, the original Miracle on 34th Street is
Oh.
one of my favorite. The remake is okay, but the original one is just I think it's the greatest Christmas movie ever made. So that one's personally for me. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and Doctor Who and Christmas specials go hand in hand. And thankfully, this year the Christmas special is back, and so we got a new Doctor and a new Christmas special. I'm so excited. But of all the Doctor Who Christmas specials, of which there are great ones, the Christmas Carol episode of Doctor Who is one of the greatest episodes of Doctor Who, and I watch it every year.
Michael Gambon is in it, aka Dumbledore from Harry Potter.
Yeah,
so.
it is a perfect episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
One of the best of the entire series,
and also probably one of the few Christmas specials that you can not know anything about Doctor Who, and you can watch it and still really enjoy it.
So it's a perfect hour of television.
Nice. All right, good to know. I love it. Very varied list, guys. Very good. All right, so we have I think we're basically out of time, but I just want to go around real quick and do some plugs. Ivy, any projects, anything coming up for you want to mention?
Not just my Instagram. It's my name at Ivy Loftberg, and that's about it right now.
Sounds good. All right. Power couple.
We are at the Law of Donut Engineering. We are open this weekend, up through the 24th, and then we will be closed till the new year. And it's your last chance to enjoy some of our holiday flavors, like our Santa's Jammies, which is my personal favorite. So,
what is in Santa's Jammies?
it is a peach berry jam that is made in house, and it gets a toasted sugar topping, so it's kind of a bit crunchy, and it gets a sprinkling of cinnamon on top.
Oh my God. It's very Christmassy. I love it. I love it. Mr. Godfrey, anything for you, sir?
Eating donuts.
Okay, good. You
Smart
married,
man.
you married wisely.
Yes, good choice.
And as for me, you could just catch episodes of Under the Radar on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and that's Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Also, feel free to subscribe to the Under the Radar YouTube channel. And of course, listen to SiriusXM Slam Radio for new episodes of the podcast of Under the Radar every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So check out that for new episodes. Rachel, Eric, Ivy, thank you. This was amazing. You guys are always so insightful, so full of life and knowledge, and I respect all of you so much on this holiday season. I'm very grateful to all of you and to everyone else listening and watching. Happy holidays. I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar. We'll see you next time, bringing movies and people together one frame at a time. Take care, guys.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending, interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
special edition of Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together one frame at a time. And with me today, I have a very special guest. This is actor Mr. Sawyer Spielberg of the new holiday dramedy, Merry Good Enough. Sawyer, how's it going?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great. Yeah,
Good,
great to
good to
great to be
see you.
chatting about Mary Good Enough.
For sure, for sure. I actually
Yeah.
saw the movie last night, loved it. It really surprised me how much I enjoyed it. One of the better holiday dramedies out there. One of the better holiday films in general I've seen in recent years, actually. So
Uh,
kudos to that. And you did a great
thank
job
you.
playing Sam. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
So
no, I loved playing Sam.
yeah.
Um, he's he brings a freshness to Lucy's life while
Mhm.
she's on the hunt, while she's out looking for her mother.
I think
You
you're probably the only sane person in this movie. You're the only sane
know.
character.
Oh,
And it
thank you. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
You keep everyone grounded, and it really is cool to see that. How did you get involved with the project in the first place?
Well, I worked with Dan and Caroline on Honeydew, a horror film that
Mm,
we shot in Massachusetts about 6, 7 years ago.
mm,
And we stayed in touch. And but my wife and I were in California, and Caroline shot us a call and said, "Hey, you wanna meet in Venice Beach, and we can hang out and catch up, and I'd love to meet your wife, and we can have a coffee, and I have the script that if you want to
mhm,
read it." And so we read we read the script, and we head in, and we meet her for coffee.
mm,
And she talks about there's like an immediate connection between Ray and Caroline. They're like
mm,
long lost sisters. Like, where did you come from? And we start working on the scenes. And 2 coffees later, 3 coffees later, we're like,
mm,
we probably worked on a chunk of the film, and we're laughing and howling and chatting. And then we say goodbye. She heads back home. We head back to our place, and we get a phone call from Dan Kennedy saying, "What would it take to wrap you guys into this holiday film? You want to head to Massachusetts in like 4 weeks and come and
Okay.
work with us?" And
Nice.
yeah, like, and we said you count us in. And then it all started from there. And the next thing you knew, we were on a train to Boston.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
you actually
yeah.
filmed in Boston and like the
Yeah,
outside area.
so
Right.
there were some scenes shot actually in Boston, and then the chunk of it was shot in Wayland, Massachusetts, Lynn, Massachusetts, Peabody, all over Mass. Um,
Nice.
uh, yeah, yeah, we had a great time living and working there for a few weeks.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Did you draw on any real life experience for the role of Sam?
I Sam had left Massachusetts and he moved to California for college, and then he
Mm,
lived there for a decade, and he kind of left his home and kind of built his own identity. When I was 18, I did the opposite. I moved out of California and I moved to New York,
mm,
for drama school, and I went and I never kind of came back. Um, and so he had time and space to sort of build his own self, his own identity, and so I did find a link and a connection through that for sure.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
The ultimate actor's technique.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
You
cool.
just got to find even if you're playing someone very far away from you, if you can find some sort of connection to
Mm,
it,
mm.
um, you can find a way in.
Cool, cool. Awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. And now the rest of the cast is just fantastic.
yeah.
What was it like? What was it like working with these people? It must have been a lot of fun.
We're family now. We're chosen family now. Yeah, I love everybody so much. Yeah, they're like my um we've been touring this film now since October, from
Mhm,
one screening to the next, from one festival to the next. And it finally comes out on Tuesday, and we're
mhm,
already getting sentimental because we're such a that doesn't happen all the time.
mhm,
Sometimes you do a job and you show up, and you know you you do your part, you do your job, and then you sort of move on to the next one. But with this film, something about this team that Dan and Caroline put together, we're as thick as thieves. Yeah, we're family now. So, and I think you can also see that in the film.
Yeah.
Like the charade scene, you know, we were just having fun that day. I don't think we were acting. I think we were actually just at that point we had built such a tight bond that we were just having fun that day, and the audience could feel that excitement.
I love that. I love hearing that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be with any job, to be honest with you.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
keep things light and fun and just enjoy it. Now speaking about that, on the other side of the coin, what were some challenges you guys faced on set?
You know, I think we got very lucky because there was a lot of moments where a lot of people, maybe it was because of the neighborly people of Massachusetts, or maybe it was because of the holidays, or maybe it was because of whatever karma or luck we were given off. A lot of people were willing to help us out.
Okay.
And so we didn't face many challenges. There were some shoots that we were doing where we were shooting at night, and it was very, very cold.
Okay.
Like, 25 degrees. And the wardrobe that I was in, I think it was not suitable for anything under 50.
Oh God.
I had the jacket on, the shearling jacket, and I had just a button-down t-shirt.
Okay.
And so that was a challenge, you know. In between takes, they'd throw me in a big jacket and get me warm and send me into a cafe to warm up, and then come back and do the next take. But
was this
besides that, it was a very smooth shoot.
Yeah. Was that the scene where you and Lucy were on the hood of the car?
Yeah, it was the car hood scene.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Talked about our parents and Tom Petty.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So I did mention that this is one of the better holiday films I've seen in recent times. Personally, what are some of your all-time favorite holiday films?
I loved Elf.
Okay.
You know, I was
Yeah.
I was just talking about this actually the other day. I think Elf is a great holiday movie because it had a story and a theme that's never been done before, and it's about a son and a father trying to connect again after so many years of not connecting. Mary Goodenough. It has like dark humor, dry humor, which is my kind of humor. It's my favorite kind of humor. Mary Goodenough has the same kind of humor, and Mary Goodenough is about a daughter and a mother trying to connect. And I think that's what holidays are all about, like going back home and fighting and trying to reconnect with the people that that your family, people that you started your journey with. And so I think that Elf did a good job at that. I love, I watch, Jimmy Stewart was one of my favorite actors growing up. He was always someone who I looked up to, and It's a Wonderful Life that movie gets me every time. Yeah. That one is really doesn't have the same kind of humor as Mary Goodenough and Elf does, but it does hit the
heartstrings,
the gratitude strings at the end. Yeah. The holidays, it's the end of the year. The year is coming to an end. There's a new year on the horizon. And how do you want to spend your last moments of the year? Because you're never going to get this year back again. So
that's true.
I think that those movies and Mary Goodenough all kind of tap into the urgency of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Plus they're a lot of fun to watch and really funny.
And they're a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, they are. They are.
Personally for me, Bill Murray and Scrooge. I absolutely love that one.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
That's my number one. It's that and maybe A Christmas Story, a close number two.
Yeah. Is that the one where he's in the jacket and they can't get his arms down? I love
little
that.
kid. Yeah. That's a classic.
Overbearing parent. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a fun movie.
That's a great movie. Yeah.
So Sawyer, you are obviously Steven Spielberg's son,
Mhm.
and one of the greatest filmmakers of our times. I am just curious. I need to know, what was it like growing up in that household?
It was a lot more normal, I think,
Hmm.
than people would think. I think that if you were to look at it like most dads would play football in the backyard with their kids, I think my dad would watch movies with us. So it
Okay.
was just, yeah, I grew up with a deep appreciation for movies and film and story. And I think a lot of people see him as a big, you know, um, bigger than life, a filmmaker, but he's at his core, at his heart, he's just a storyteller, and he loves telling stories. And so I grew up with a lot of stories, and it's really helped me now as an adult, because I'm now pursuing acting, and when I read a script, like, it's pretty easy for me to tell if this is a good story
Hmm.
based off of my unique experience. And
Right,
so
right, right.
I feel I'm lucky that I love acting, and I'm lucky that I
Hmm.
want to pursue this. I think because I just feel like I have such um, a wealth of knowledge of film and stories that I wouldn't have had if I didn't grow up with a father figure like him. Yeah,
So he basically kind of nudged you, yeah, in that direction, kind of inspired you.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there was
So
definitely a chunk of time in my early life where I'm like, well, there's got to be something else I can do, you know.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
there's got to be another, career path that I could take. But I just love acting so much, and so I kept coming back to it. And now
Hmm.
I feel like this is where my life has taken me. Yeah.
What were some of those other avenues that you considered?
I was interested in business. I was interested in going to school for engineering. I was interested
Hmm.
in, like, at one point I wanted to have I wanted to be a pilot, and I wanted to, like, get my pilot's license and start,
Hmm.
doing that for a while, and just I was teaching for a little bit. I was teaching different things,
Hmm.
and so, but I was like, every time all those things that I tried to do,
Yeah,
I kept going back to acting, and then ultimately I'm like, no, this is where I need to be. Yeah,
I love
yeah,
your true calling, as it were. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, exactly.
Um, back to your dad. The last question on
Yeah.
that. What are some of your favorite Spielberg films, or your father's films, rather?
Well, I really loved the Fablemans. His
Yeah,
last, yeah, that
yeah.
one really broke my heart, and
Okay.
I loved that film. Um, yeah,
Bas
I'm
Basically,
as
your the story of your grandfather and your
exactly,
grandma. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm so happy that that's now out there
Mm,
for my kids to watch one day, and proud as a son can be about that one. Yeah, yeah,
sweet. Good
and
choice.
yeah, yeah.
Sweet. I've used the hashtag Spiel Nerd. That is
Spiel
my
nerd, I love that.
I'm I'm
Yeah,
I'm hoping it catches on soon, because I'm obsessed with your dad's work. But yeah, I am a
yeah,
true Spiel nerd
I love it.
in
Yeah,
every
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. So pass that along to your dad if you want.
I will. Spiel nerd, I will. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll start using that too.
please do.
Yeah,
Please
there we
do.
go.
I'd be
Yeah, yeah,
honored.
yeah.
We're about done here. I just want to know, are there any other projects you're working on now that you can discuss?
I've shot a lot of projects over the past 2 years that are now all coming out.
Okay.
That I'm super excited about. I play an Air Force pilot in Masters of the Air, which is coming
Okay.
out on Apple on 26th of January.
Okay.
That was a great experience, living and working in the UK for about 6 months, and I worked on. After that, I shot a bunch of really interesting independent films that I'm excited for people to see.
Okay.
Uh, that are all up on the. They'll all be coming out soon. They're all very
Okay.
unique and different in their own take. But
Sweet.
the most present and the most exciting one right now in my life is Mary Goodenough, which
Fair.
opens everywhere on the 19th.
Thank you. I was
Apple,
just about to ask.
Amazon, and boom, yeah, that's where it's.
Huh.
If you want to go and buy it, you can pre-buy it now, or you can purchase it on yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it's a great film. I hope everyone checks it out. And I just want Sawyer, I want to thank you for your time today. This was amazing.
Of course.
It's really great to meet you. And yeah, so the movie is Mary Good Enough. It's awesome. Check it out. It's coming out soon. And I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together one frame at a time. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Randy Unger here with Under the Radar, here at the Tribeca Film Festival, more specifically the SVA Theater in Manhattan, about to talk to some of the stars and producers of the new comedy, Standing Up and Falling Down. Randy Unger, Under the Radar.
Oh, you want another handshake for the camera?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, got it.
How's it going, Ben?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. How's it feel to be at the Tribeca Film Festival?
It's fun, man. I really like it because I'm from New York, so it's like an exciting thing. Yeah.
Same here, I'm from Queens.
Oh, nice. I'm from Riverdale.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about the film. What can they expect? What was it like working on the film?
Well, I got to work with Billy Crystal, which is incredible.
Awesome.
The film is about me as a stand-up comic who fails, goes back home, and meets, I almost said Don Cheadle, and meets Billy Crystal. who
Totally
plays
different person.
Totally different show, yeah. And meets Billy Crystal, who is this dermatologist.
Okay.
And we're both kind of in messy parts of our lives.
Okay.
And we use each other to lean on and kind of grow throughout the film. And it's like a very beautiful little story told, and just to play with Billy has been a dream of mine, so it's been amazing.
Now, would you consider this a comedy or a drama?
I would say it's a drama with comedy bones.
A dramedy?
So I'd say dramedy.
Dramedy, cool.
I know it's been thrown around a lot, but yeah.
And I know you're a comedian. Your work on Parks and Rec was amazing.
Oh, thanks, man.
John Ralphio, incredible role. Thank you for that.
Oh, for sure. You're welcome.
Will we see a Parks and Rec reunion anytime soon?
I mean, I would. If they want to do anything, I'm down. I get no say in any of that, but anytime they want me, I do anything they want.
That's cool. So the festival is obviously in New York. You're a native New Yorker.
Yeah.
How does it feel to just represent your state, your
It's
city?
great. It's fun, and it also means that my family can come down and see stuff.
Great.
So that stuff is so exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Anything else on coming down the pike?
I got Sonic coming in November.
Sweet.
And then
You're the voice, right?
I play the voice of Sonic.
That is an honor.
And then doing a bunch of shows. We're touring. We just did at Carnegie Hall, which was exciting.
Okay.
And then some other stuff I can't talk about yet, but
Okay.
hopefully will come up soon.
Well, real quick, Sonic the Hedgehog. Were you a big Genesis game? Were you a gamer growing up?
I was a huge gamer growing up. I had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo, and my friend David Fernandez had a Sega Genesis.
Okay.
Jim Santangeli, looking very sharp. Emily, looking very sharp. So I love video games growing up. I, of course, beat Sonic. I did Sonic 2. I got to Tails. I played the Game Gear one. So it was like a joy just because I love all this.
Well, we look forward to seeing that.
Thanks, man.
Good
Love
luck,
to
man.
meet you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
Randy Unger, Under the Radar. So tell everybody about the film. It's very exciting. What was it like working with Billy Crystal?
He's an icon.
Yeah, yeah.
So to get the chance, it's really sort of surreal to get the chance to direct Billy Crystal. You sort of have to pinch yourself.
Were there any challenges on set?
It was a remarkably harmonious set. I mean, I learned very early, life's too short for schmucks.
Okay.
And I've endeavored not to surround myself with them. And, we just had, it's been fun reconnecting with the cast here because not only are they all tremendous actors, but they really are all tremendous people. And it makes it that much easier.
So you're saying there was good camaraderie on set?
Absolutely. And, Billy and Ben really didn't know each other before filming. And their relationship sort of mirrored their characters in the sense of, over a very short period of time, they became incredibly close, and it was really fun to watch.
Now, tell everybody about the origins of the film, the story.
So the writer, Peter Hoare, who's a tremendously talented writer and has become a really dear friend, was, going through some struggles, in his early days, and I think that served as the inspiration for it. And then was really a launch pad to write something about the nature of regret, the nature of second chances, and it sort of went from there.
Sounds very dark. I haven't seen the film yet. I'm very excited, though.
It's fun. And one of the things I love about it is it does straddle that line between comedy and drama. Okay. And for me, life is comedy and life is drama. Yeah. And it's often both at the same time, and that was part of what appealed to me about the script.
That's awesome. Well, congrats. I hope to see the film soon and enjoy.
Thank you.
And there you have it, guys. The red carpet of the new dramedy, Standing Up, Falling Down. And I just spoke with some of the cast and crew, and I'm here at the Tribeca Film Festival. I'm Randy Unger with Under the Radar. See you soon.